up, y'all? I didn't know if I was gonna be making a video today, but I think I will. Came out here to one of my favorite spots, John Hayes Lake. Not many people come out here, but it's beautiful. But today I wanted to talk about storm damage and storm damage prevention. If you know, if any of y'all had any questions about that, if homeowners are watching this, then you might be preparing for spring or something like that, and you don't want any trees falling on your house, or you're checking out your yard for the year, something like that. You're trying to figure out which trees may need to come out, which trees and you may need to structurally prune or something like that, or which ones are hazardous and what you need to look out for and stuff like that. So I just want to give you some insight today as to what to look for, what to keep an eye out for, and maybe how to take care of it yourself. Ooh, it's cold out here. But where should I start? Let's see. I guess what to look out for if you're a homeowner, or if you're somebody that's doing a job, and you're in the tree business, and you want to know what to look out for and what to have an eye for on the job, as to if somebody's asking you for advice and saying which trees do I need to take out, or what should I do with this one, what should I do with that one. A few things you should look out for are root rot, or root gurgling, and then obviously dead branches from the tips in, all that stuff. And obviously if a tree is completely dead, you need to take it out. And if it's in a hazardous place or position, you definitely need to take it out. But so root rot, most homeowners can figure that out. If you go up to a tree and you see that it has some exposed areas around the root, that usually means there's root rot or some type of disease, or if there's like some kind of compost material down to the bottom, if there's a hole or anything down in there, that's usually root rot, or some type of termite, or what do you call it, carpenter ant, something like that. Yeah, but if you see that compost stuff, then that's usually the secretions of insects and the decaying of wood itself. So if you see that, it's probably definitely on its way out. And I think there's like one or two trees in our yard at home that have that, and yeah, that one's probably going to be coming down in a few years. But yeah, so that, root rot, it basically looks like an exposed root. It doesn't have any bark on it, and you can usually tell between healthy roots and unhealthy roots if they're if the base of the tree is exposed to the elements and it doesn't have no bark on it. Like I said, it's probably got root rot. And then root gurgling is, man, it's cold out here. My kneecaps are bouncing. But yeah, root gurgling is when the tree doesn't have enough room for the roots to grow properly. So if it's in a dense area where yeah, so if a tree is in like a city or something like that, and it's in a tight place, and yeah, it doesn't have enough room to grow properly, the roots tend to strangle themselves, or grow in positions that are unnatural. And when that happens, it's definitely not good for the tree, nor its health or anything like that, especially whenever you're saying the tree's strangling itself. So that's not good at all. And then you can see it on the surface whenever the roots they're overlapping or they're strangling the base of the tree. That usually means the tree needs to be taken down, or it's, you know, going to come down eventually within the near future. So that's a telltale sign. Telltale. Yeah, I always have trouble with that. But yeah, that's usually a sign that the tree's coming down and needs to be taken down. Another thing is what I was talking about was you know, insects, and if the tree is dying and you can see it, you know, if the branches are like dying in from the tips in, you can usually see that early on, and you know, take that as a sign to, you know, either prune those infected branches and dead branches, you know, when that time comes, you know, in the spring, or, you know, in the fall if it be an oak or something like that, or winter. Yeah, keep an eye out for that stuff. Try to keep your stuff well trimmed, well pruned. Proper structural pruning is what you really need to know. Proper structural pruning is what I'll be talking about in another video here soon. It may not be soon, I'm not sure, just depending. But yeah. So, and if a tree is completely dead and it's in a hazardous area, like I said, you know, if a large branch is hanging over a house, or, you know, a barn, or a shed, or, you know, whatever it may be, over a truck or a vehicle, then you definitely want to get that hazard out of the way. And if it's, you know, not in a position where you can do it, then you want to get a company with either a certified arborist or somebody with you know, a lot of knowledge or a lot of experience in the field. And yeah, that's another thing to look out for. And you know, just storm damage and prevention. You can have in general, you can have a live tree, and it could be a hazardous, you know, situation. You know, bracing and cabling. I'm getting into that stuff. And so what happens is, if you have a live tree and you're wanting to keep it alive, then yeah, cabling and bracing could be the way to go for you. If you have like a large, like a white oak or a live oak or something like that, sometimes those branches, they grow out probably like the main leads, they grow out probably like 10 foot up, 15 foot up if it's a, you know, 60 to 80 year old white oak or a live oak or something like that. Sorry y'all for the shaky voice, just breathing out here. But yeah, so if you have super large leads towards the base of the tree, and they go pretty far out, if they hang down, or even if they grow out like a 45 from the tip of the tree, then you might want to look into somebody to either brace or cable your tree, and or that lead or whatever. But what that is it's like a steel cable. So you have it's like a bolt with a loop on the end, and you have this steel wire that well, you take the bolt and you drill it in at a 45-degree angle at the farthest out point on that largest limb that you're going for. So yeah, you go out, you know, on this limb, and you know, at a point it's not safe for the branch to be drilled into, you know, given the girth and the diameter of the branch and where you're at. So go at not telling you guys to do this, but just for, you know, knowledge purposes, this is what you would do. Or you know, somebody's not advising it, maybe you could, you know, put it in their head and be like, well, I kind of want to save this tree, I kind of want to, you know, save these huge leads, you know, could you maybe brace it, or you know, wire it up for me to where it'll hold up that branch. So what you do is, like I said, you go out to the farthest point on the limb where it's safe for the tree to grow, and it's safe for the tree to still be healthy afterwards. So, you know, say if the limb's this big around at the base, and then it goes out, and the tip's obviously super little, you want to go probably about 3/4 of the way out to where the branch is probably like yay big around, and then you drill that hole in at a 45 towards the point where you're gonna anchor in on the main totem of the tree. So you put that bolt in, and then I'm not totally sure how to, you know, tighten it down yet. You could use a come along maybe, I'm not totally sure. But then once you got that drilled in, you got the bolt in there, then you I think you would definitely put the wire in, put that steel cable in that loop, and so now you got an anchor point on your branch or lead, and then you go up as far as you can on the totem of the tree, or the trunk of the tree, and you find the highest point to where you can do the same thing. So you either do a 45, or I'm not totally sure, but I'm thinking that you could, you know, you could go straight in for the most stability, and you drill a hole straight in the tree, you know, at a good position, at a healthy position, healthy point, you know, on the tree. Like I said, similar to the branch, you know, you don't want the girth of the tree to be too small, you know, where you drill in. You want it to have good girth and good diameter, to have a lot of meat to hold on to. But what you do is you drill that in, you put the bolt in there, and then you put that steel cable in that loop, or the other one, and then you tighten it down. I'm not totally sure how they tighten it down, but yeah, they tighten it down enough to where it's, you know, has no tension in it. And then as the tree grows, then that wire is helping to support that branch, so it doesn't snap off the totem or the trunk of the tree. So that's another way that you can prevent storm damage in the future. And let's think of some other ways. Oh, one cool thing that I learned is copper wiring. If you guys have ever seen where what's it called, when lightning strikes a tree and it makes that black streak down a tree, or it splits it in half, or it catches it on fire, that's a no-no. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So if you have a big tree near your house, you know, similar circumstances where you got huge leads on these trees, or it's just a big tree in general, or it could be a small tree and you just want to save it for the future, you know, you want it to be healthy, and you're thinking about this tree's long-term life. Another option would be, if you don't, you know, if the branches aren't big enough to where you've got to think about bracing, but you want to save it from lightning or storm damage or something like that, what you would do is either if you really knew what you were doing, you could either do it yourself, or, you know, get somebody else to do it. I don't recommend you do it on your own, but you take heavy duty copper wiring, heavy duty, and you go from the base of the tree. You need points in the ground. You always need ground wire. So you somehow you get the copper wiring in the ground, or you know, wrapped around a stake, a steel stake, or, you know, some type of metal stake, and you drive it into the ground. So now you have ground wires. You probably want like 2 or something like that, just to be safe. And then you drive that copper wire up to the tip of the totem of the tree, or the trunk of the tree. So at the highest point you can drive it up to, you drive it up this tree, and, you know, you either tie it in up there, or you could maybe even staple it to the tree. I'm not totally sure. You know, there's big heavy duty staples at different places, but once you got it to the top of the tree, you take another piece of heavy duty copper wiring, or maybe two. It depends how big the tree is, but you want to go out to 2 neighboring, or 2 opposite branches. So one on the left side of the tree, one on the right side of the tree. And, you know, it doesn't have to be like a cross or a grid. It can just, you know, be 2. So say I'm a tree, you got this line coming up from the ground, you got one all the way up here. So that's the first copper wire. And then you want to put another one out to the left and another one out to the right, your right, my left. And yeah, that's what you do. You rig up the wiring pretty much like a crosser, you know, depending on how the branches are growing. If it's a weeping, not a weeping willow, you wouldn't really do that to a weeping willow. If it's an oak tree, you know, it'd be like this. If it's a maple, it'd be like this. And if it's a red maple or a silver maple, sometimes the branches grow down like that. But yeah, I mean, you probably just need like 3 main wires, copper wires going up, just to where that when that lightning strikes, if it ever does, then that electricity and that voltage, that it has a, you know, a conductor, it has a place it can go and not through the tree itself. So if you have that copper wire in, it's going to drive down and either well, you want it to drive into the ground, through the copper wire into the ground, and that's where you want the electricity to disperse, and that's the whole point of the setup. So, you know, if it hits any of those, you know, top points on the tree, you know, the farthest point out of those branches, or the, you know, the very top of the tree, it's going to save the tree. It's going to direct that electricity straight into the ground, and your tree's going to be safe. That's another way, you know, to prevent storm damage. And like I said, you know, with, you know, if you got another live tree and you got live branches hanging over your house, always, you know, keep them trimmed up, or have somebody do it if you don't feel comfortable doing it. And yeah, might be about it. Yeah, just like yearly maintenance, get somebody, you know, to do it, or if you can do it yourself, do it if you know how. But yeah, just staying on top of that stuff is a big part of it. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can prevent storm damage. And then I'm not into this yet, but you could even do, you know, injections in your trees. Well, that wouldn't be storm damage, that would be disease prevention, similar to what I was talking about earlier with insects and disease and stuff like that. There's tree injections where they take needles, similar to us, but pretty different. I mean, they take these needles with like drill bits, pretty much, but they're very small, you know, compared to an actual drill bit. You know, because they're just trying to make an insertion, and you know, they make quite a few insertions around a ring of the tree. You know, I'm pretty sure it's in a circle around the tree at the same level. So they make those insertions, and then they inject it with a serum or, you know, a chemical that will, you know, either fight that disease or prevent one. And yeah, that's another way that you can keep the tree healthy, keep it from dying. That might be about it, y'all. That might be about it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the view. You can see it. Sure. It's pretty beautiful out here. But yeah. Like I said, it is freezing out here, so I'm gonna close up this video. Love you guys. Have another video coming next week. Peace.